Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy M.K.S. Back here with part 2 of this video. Sorry, off this list. I hope everyone's well. So for those who don't know or missed out my first video or are new to this channel or whatever, P.O.C stands for People of Colour. So this is a list about what I think we should stand for. And again, as I said in part 1, please check that out if you haven't done so already. These are what I believe we should stand for. So I'm not saying it's factual, or I wouldn't force this onto anyone, but this is what I would recommend we stand for. The time here in the UK is 10:15, and it's still beautiful outside. You can probably see out the window on that side. It's still like really beautiful. Looks like daytime. So we finally got some good weather here in the UK, which hasn't been with us for a while. You know what I mean? Anyway, so I've talked before in some of my previous videos about what I call the four, which are Indigenous people from. I'm going to mention this once in this video initially, so that whenever it will save me time rather than keep repeating those groups that I want to support. So when I say I want to support these 4 groups, the 4 are Indigenous people from Africa, Australasia, like the Aborigines, Maoris, and people like that. The Americas, like the Native Americans, which I'm mainly hoping to support this month, and also in August and September, and Asia, so Asians and all that. And also, I also think we should support each other around the world, like the diaspora as well, but especially from those 4 themselves. So anyway, that will mention it once will hopefully save me time for mentioning it again. Anyway, cracking on with the list. As I say, I'm continuing on from part 1 of this list, so I'm continuing on from point number 11. So number 11, I think on that note, with that being said, I think it would be great if people of colour supported inventors, ideas people, innovators, investors, investing into, and people investing ourselves into what I call the 4, which I just mentioned, as well as other P.O.C around the world, and that sort of thing. And support more people like Aborigines and people like that, Maoris, to become inventors. I've never heard of any Aborigines or Maoris or even Native Americans who are inventors. So I don't know if they're already, maybe they've been pushed back so long. That's the reason why they haven't managed to make any inventors or whatever, or have any people who are inventors. But maybe there are some. I've just not heard of them. But I think it'd be great to encourage them. I know there are inventors from Africa and Asia as well. So again, I think we should support them as well as the diaspora, but especially from those places themselves. And I'd love us to lobby for our taxes to go to those groups as well. But again, as many projects from the 4 as possible, especially. Number 12, on that note as well, I think it'd be great if we did like what I call #teach4 or train for or mentor for, again, the 4 or Africa, Asia, whatever specifically, and different projects, and sometimes specific countries like Nigeria, Kenya, India, or China, whatever. So we like people who are good business people from people of colour who are good business people to go over to those countries and teach and train, and like training things like STEM, which are the main subjects at the moment. Science, tech, engineering, English. Well, I add English and entrepreneurship as well, and maths and things like that. And in particular, tech for Africa and Aborigines, which I hope to come to. Number 13, I know that these lists are a bit controversial, and not everyone will agree with me. Part of me does think I can't really imagine people of colour coming together, but I hope I'll be proven wrong over time. Number 14, I think it'd be great if we analysed the problems facing what I call the 4 and each other and people of colour, and talk about how we can solve those problems, such as disunity, poverty, crime, corruption, bad healthcare, whatever other problems we face, financial problems, again, poverty or things like that, including like the reservation in America, which is, I think, the poorest place in America, which is Pine Ridge. I often get confused whether it's Pine Ridge or Pine Wood. I think it is Pine Ridge. You can check that out if you type in the poorest place in America. I think it'll come up, or even if you type in Pine Wood, I think it will redirect you to like Pine Ridge or whatever. But anyway, so like supporting those groups, the poorest people in America, like Pine Ridge Reservation, and reservations generally for Native Americans and those sorts of groups, again, what I call the 4, especially the poorest, and like solving their problems, solving like problems like war trade, ensuring we get food, shelter, and things like that, and help people in those, again, the 4 to get food, shelter, warmth, and things like that. Number 15, to help, again, people of colour around the world, the diaspora, and especially the poor again, to reach their goals. And my goal would be to help them as much as possible to reach their goal, and I hope other people of colour in the future will do the same. And I think if we're a united community and we support each other, then investors, big businesses, companies, corporations will want to invest in people of colour, because they'll see we support each other, and we have each other's backs, and we have a market for people of colour, so they'll know they'll be rewarded, so to speak, for supporting people of colour with the custom and all that. So I think that can encourage more businesses, even like big tech companies, which are mostly white male dominated, I suppose. Hopefully will be interested in supporting people in Africa, because they'll know it's going to come back to them through their PR and all that sort of thing, and they'll have trained staff for the future and that sort of thing. Number 16, I hope to analyse what are the best ways to support, say for instance, as I say, the four, especially at this moment in time, like Native Americans, what are the best ways to support them financially, and maybe also listen to them about what sort of things they want. But even like have ideas which people don't always obviously know what's best for them, so maybe even like having out of the box innovative ideas which Native Americans might not have thought would have benefited them, but in the long term might benefit them. But yeah, help them, their singers, songwriters, story writers, script writers, and all sorts of things like that. Acknowledging their songs and other projects. Again, supporting them in areas like STEM and all sorts of things like that, with training and that sort of thing. Number 17, again, I hope to like look at the strengths of an imagination, skills and talents, and help people in from those backgrounds, like Aborigines or Maoris and Native Americans, for instance, might have many opportunities, and even people in Africa and Asia might not have many opportunities. So I like to support them to get opportunities to get into STEM and that sort of thing. So empowerment projects and helping them to realise their potential and fulfil their abilities, their talents, and that sort of thing. Or make best use of, in other words. Number 18, I hope we'll say like positive things about each other and share positive affirmations with each other and encourage and uplift each other rather than bring each other down and rather be divided. Number 19, I dream for people of colour especially, but people around the world generally, as many people as possible, to really support African software developers, both male and female, and people of all ages. And 20, and I also dream to like support younger people from, again, what I call the four, and people of colour, and also again P.O.C. and all that around the world, especially from what I call the four, and also African tech and Aborigines and Maoris, native people from Australasia in technology, like because I think there's an underrepresentation of black people. But the reason why, as I said before, like the reason why I want to support specifically Africans, black Africans and Aborigines, Maoris and people like that, and in particular women, is because I think they've been underrepresented in tech. But also, like if I supported black, British or African American women in tech, then the taxes they pay would have to go towards their host nation, and that goes towards wars and things like that. But if women in Africa were supported in tech, or men as well, it could be that the money they make in the future could be recycled back into, I was going to say regurgitated, recycled, let's say, back into, or reinvested even, if you want, back into their communities, so it can help even more women in the future. So their profits, the taxes they pay, for instance, could go back, specifically those taxes. So a woman in Africa who does well in technology, her taxes could go back in towards investing in more girls in Africa doing tech, and Aborigines and Maoris and people like that. Anyway, I hope I wasn't waffling too much, and I'd love to know what you think, and I hope you found some of these ideas at least interesting. As ever, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are and what you think are the worst or best ideas, or any other thoughts you have, or any ideas that you have of your own, and what you think people of colour should stand for. And I'm out. Peace and love.